Well, we have a mechanism of evolution, but what early steps led to the life we see today? For the most of life's history, the first 3 billion years or so, things have been relatively dull. There were billions of single-cell creatures making goo, discolouring the water and creating some very bad smells. It wasn't nice, but it wasn't very exciting. The earliest of these tiny creatures were very tiny indeed, and had a fatty cell surround which contained free-floating DNA molecules. Even though we refer to them as simple bags of chemicals, there was a hell of a lot going on inside them. More importantly for us, the speed in which they were dividing and reproducing gave rise to enormous evolutionary variations that have been essential to the continuing development of life on Earth. It meant that many billions of biological designs and mechanisms could be tested, and the best ones moved on. It was this single-celled evolution that came up with perhaps one of the most important innovations: photosynthesis. Instead of finding chemicals or eating other organisms, the cells could take energy directly from the sun. This was a revelation. Soon the Earth was colonized by trillions of these organisms, turning carbon dioxide and water into glucoses. The byproduct of this was oxygen, and over billions of years, this built up in the atmosphere, poisoning many of the primitive creatures that had put it there. About 1 billion years ago, these cells had evolved into more complex single-celled organisms. It may well have been that an eaten cell had survived inside its host, but soon distinct and separate areas inside the cells, containing separate DNA, improved the efficiency and the reproductive success of these cells even further. It was also at this time that mitochondria began to work as part of a cell structure. Now these are very separate entities with different DNA and different cell division times. They are like a separate creature inside of us. But they could not live without us, and we could certainly not live without them. They are the energy workhouses that we depend on today to take energy from the now abundant oxygen. The DNA, the information needed to make everything, became protected in a separate nucleus, which increased the accuracy and success of multiplication. It was also at this time that instead of splitting into 2 identical clones, a new method of procreation was introduced into the evolutionary slot machine: sexual reproduction. The ability to combine different attributes from 2 distinct parents to create ongoing variations at a greater pace than ever before. So suddenly, from these tiny creatures, the stage was set. Energy from the sun, a rich supply of oxygen, a system to turn that oxygen into energy, and a variety of complex single cells that were now able to diversify faster and more accurately than ever before. It was time to step things up a gear.